What's up, Yu-Gi-Oh! Video Speed Duels? Yeah, anyways, we got another dual profile video, for you guys today. I tried my hand at Skull Servants. We're playing against what will soon be revealed as Viral Red Eyes, which I think is a really cool idea. I didn't know I was going into a matchup against another viral skill, but always fun to see some creativity in the game. We played Pyramid of Wonders in this deck. Pyramid of Wonders is so good. Little did we know that this deck had the potential to OTK. So we see Lord of D. We saw a Kaiba scale, so we assumed it was blue eyes, and then it summons two red eyes. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is interesting. I did not prepare for this at all. Pyramid gave Goblin Zombie 600 extra attack to take a hit, but what I forgot to do, yeah, I got OTK'd. What I forgot to do is use Pyramid of Wonders effect to then keep Goblin Zombie alive to lessen the blow. But it was kind of game anyways. Like, what I had was not going to get us there in time. The whole point of this deck is to Skull Servant it up as fast as possible, get our king as big as possible. We're not playing the Relinquish package like the previous video I have up because I just didn't want to brick ever. So this game we started out with two Pyramid of Wonders. We only played two Pyramid of Wonders, but we opened both. So they go in for the Flute again and the Red Eyes, but they only get one this time. Meanwhile, our Goblin Zombie gets pumped by 800. 200 for each monster your opponent controls times 2 Pyramid of Wonders equals 800 attack. So Zombie dies, and we meant to search another Zombie because right now we're playing a defensive game. So they were nice enough to let us switch what we wanted. So then we draw Skull Servant, we viral down a Skull Servant we call Spell, because from this point all I've seen is just Flute of Summoning Dragon. So Goblin Zombie's 1900 beat stick swings into Lord of D. It's unfortunate that we milled a Red Eyes because that's the whole point of this deck, is to get Red Eyes in the grave if it's not already on the field and just reborn it with Red Eyes Spirit and just punch in continually, over continually. So they swing here, and yeah, see, this is where it was like, oh god, I gotta burn the sphere on this, all because I'm a Goblin Zombie. So, but to be fair, if they drew it for turn, they would have just milled it with Viral Infection, so I guess it didn't actually matter too much. So we draw another Skull Servant, and we pitch it. Call Trap this time because we've seen the Spirit. We try to swing over Red Eyes. Our Zombina is currently 26, gaining 12 off the Pyramids, but they sphere it. So we save it here with Pyramid. Now we can let it die, bring back Goblin Zombie, who's at 17. Blue Summoner can't swing over that. We draw RFI. We kept it in the main because Lord of D Flute. I saw that, and that was enough of a reason to keep it in. We don't RFI here because we want to keep as much defense as possible, as much as I hate them drawing two. Like for here, so we survive off keeping it there. So flips that. We have that zombie die, and they originally could have attacked, but I have two King of Skull Servants they know, or King, I have two Skull Servants, they know I have King in hand now. Oh, okay, so here is the only like mess up. Jar of Greed is in the main deck as a 2 of, because I like to combo Skull Servants as fast as possible. We sided it out for 2 kunais, and then the game didn't apparently do that, because we drew it and we're like, this is supposed to be kunai. So we're on video chat, so that's how we know. So I message him when he swings in here, but I showed him the list ahead of time, so he knew I wasn't cheating hardcore. So you're just gonna have to follow that Jar of Greed is actually kunai with chain. Yeah, so in damage step we don't flip it to defense, we just pump the 5. So now we have a 2900 King of the Skull Servants, and now they actually have a problem. Or it's 24 or 25, but plus whatever Pyramid gives it. So right now it's 27. It was 29 when they had a Red Eyes 2. They had the third Red Eyes in hand, so they can't search with Blue Summoner. They draw Possessed Dark Soul, which is probably the best. It's going to be the best side deck card going in to next format if King of the Skull Servants produces. They switch King to defense because it only gains the attack for every Skull Servant in the graveyard, and since they now control it, they don't have anything. So it's got a kunai, so it's at 500, but obviously it can't swing over Goblin Zombie. But they do go to battle phase, activate Spirit, summon Red Eyes, and swing into Goblin Zombie. We will search our King of the Skull Servants. We have RFI, which does nothing here, which is really annoying. So we drew another king. That's real skill, real skill. We flip viral, dump that, call, spell, and now we have 3 in the graveyard between king and regular. So now this thing's at 3,000 plus pyramids 400 currently, 3,400 King of the Skull Servants, and now this Red Eyes deck is going to have a major problem dealing with this. So we swing over Red Eyes for a huge 1,000 life, get them down to 500, and all of a sudden this comeback is becoming more realistic. They set Lord of D and pass. Like, we have them on the ropes, and we can deck them out because they're at 2 cards to our 4. Sphere is huge here, though. But what the nail in the coffin is this other Possessed Dark Soul. Sphere was big anyways because they could swing with Lord of D to get over it, and we'd have to banish to summon another. They could have arguably swung with King, actually. But yeah, so they took the thing. They swing with Lord of D, and we have RFI for that. The unfortunate part here is that we have 300 life, and that king that they're attacking with here is equipped with the Jar of Greed, which is supposed to be kunai, so that's the 500. So that's actually a game. And because of RFI being dead for so long, I couldn't set the other kunai / Jar of Greed that I drew later on. So it's a little bit unfortunate, but I wanted to showcase this because I wanted to show the potential that it has, and it's unfortunate, and obviously it didn't beat a tier 1 deck, it beat Viral Red Eyes deck, which is still interesting. That deck kind of popped off real quick. But I just wanted to showcase like the potential that I feel like Skull Servants has in general. They're really hyping it up. They're giving it an Ultra in the next tournament pack, and they're giving us more support for zombies in Scars of Battle. So if it's already decent, comboing off, and if it can get strong enough quickly enough, a lot of decks just can't handle it. But on the same note, like, you give it more support, and all of a sudden it's a force to be reckoned with. What I really like about this deck in general currently, in this current format, is the first off, Ready for Intercepting does nothing to this deck because everything's a zombie. So anyone maining that, it's just a dead card. And chances are, going into game 1 without them knowing, they'll blind set one because why wouldn't they, just in case. If they see a Kaiba skill, they think Viral Infection, but they're not thinking this. Usually they're thinking, like, regular Relinquished or Red Eyes. This Viral Red Eyes thing I've actually seen more and more common lately. But also, the second thing I love about this deck is that if you go against Relinquish and they take your monster, their Relinquish is 0. Like, they're essentially just summoning it to out your huge-ass guy. It's the same reason Possessed Dark Soul is good. Like, everyone's citing that for Relinquish, but in this matchup, they'll take your king, but they're not going to be able to benefit off of it so much because it's not going to have any attack points. So you can control the game if you keep multiple of these up, because unless they have multiple outs in the same turn, like, you're always going to have something. And what I love is its longevity. If every time King dies, you can banish a Skull Servant in the grave to summon it back to the field. That both helps in stalling out your opponent and also giving it another chance to fight back in a future round if you draw another Skull Servant to, like, pitch with Viral or something. So, and Viral by itself, just milling out your opponent's deck of various resources that you know they could use against you is a really good way to slowly take down your opponent. So I really like this deck. I'm going to mess with it more. Hopefully I don't play against something like Viral, OTK, Red Eyes. Yeah, I didn't see that coming, but it was very interesting nonetheless, so I definitely wanted to showcase it. But as always, guys, comment, like, subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you either A, have a better way to build this deck. I'll showcase the deck list real quick. Here it is. Throw kunai on here, proving that we weren't actually cheating. The reason we side it, not main it, game 1, if I'm forced to go first or whatever, I like the Jar of Greed. I don't like it as a 3 of. I think it's a bit excessive. I don't mind it as a 2 of, though. It gets the deck to go off as fast as possible. If you can get King huge real quick, it's definitely a problem for them, a problematic thing. But what I love, too, about Jar of Greed in speed in general is it just works as free side options. So you can, like, knock those out for 2 Dust Tornado if you need the background hate. You can knock them out for 2 kunais if you need added defense, and the 500 sometimes comes clutch in this Red Eyes matchup specifically was a really good example. And then the one Warrior Elimination side just for Warrior Turbo and whatever, and then Possessed Dark Soul because I feel like the card's just really good against Relinquish. And I guess against this too, if I had to see against this. The only reason we don't play 3 Zombina is opening it early nets you nothing and slows you the heck down. And I feel like RFI is still worth maining right now. I know there are rogue decks, but like I feel like this shouldn't have a problem against rogue decks. It's just going to have a problem against relevant stuff. And even though Relinquished goes to 0 if it takes your thing, it's still just better to flip it face down. So you don't have to like play around that. But we're playing the 3 Sphere Karibo as opposed to Windstorm just because we're not playing a whole lot of back row. So with Dice Spoon in the game, we expect our back row to get popped a lot, in which case I would rather have the Spheres. But the upside to Windstorm, looking forward, if I wanted to do that instead, is that it sets more cards face down so that if you have Pyramid and 2 set, they have to decide whether they want you to keep the Pyramid or not. So maybe it's a good idea to actually play more traps. I'm not really sure. 3 Goblin Zombie, obviously, to search your 6 skulls. And then obviously 6 skulls to max out on the abilities. But as always, I guess we'll just wait and see what Scars gives us to add to this outside of like the Book of Life and stuff that we already know. And then we'll go from there. So let me know, guys, what you think of Skull Servants in general. Do you think it's going to be a force to be reckoned with? I know it's really hard to figure that out or give an honest opinion until we see Scars' actual like spoiler. But until then, I'm Yugi Bros signing out. Peace, guys.